The episode 7 trailer for Dutton Ranch just dropped, and honestly, I don't think any of us were fully prepared for what we just saw. Because this isn't just a teaser, this is a warning. Every single power player in the story is now moving at the same time, and the collision that's coming is going to be unlike anything this show has given us before. Beth and Rip have been playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers, but the trailer makes one thing very clear: the board is shifting. And for the first time, it looks like Beth and Rip might not be the ones controlling the next move. Let's start with what immediately jumps out the moment the trailer begins. Because the very first thing this trailer wants you to feel is pressure. Not excitement. Not curiosity. Pure, suffocating pressure. And that's intentional. The show's creative team knows exactly what they're doing, and the way this trailer is constructed tells you everything about the direction episode 7 is heading. Den of Sin is the title. And if you think about what that phrase actually means, it doesn't just describe a place. It describes a state of mind. A den is where something dangerous lives, where it hides, where it waits. And sin isn't just wrongdoing in the context of this story. Sin is every secret that's been buried, every lie that's been told, every manipulation that's been executed with a smile. And right now, every single character in Dutton Ranch is sitting inside that den, whether they know it or not. What the trailer immediately establishes is that the consequences of episode 6 are hitting much harder and much faster than anyone expected. We knew Rob Will's failed assassination attempt on Waken wasn't going to go unanswered. We knew that Rip was going to move quickly after building that alliance with Everett. But the trailer shows us that the reaction isn't just coming from Rip's side. It's coming from everywhere at once. And that's what makes this episode feel so different from everything that came before it. Up until now, the conflicts have been somewhat contained. Beth and Rip operate on one level. Bula and her sons operate on another. The ranch workers exist in their own world. But episode 7 looks like the episode where all of those separate worlds finally crash into each other with full force. Now let's talk about Rip. Because the trailer makes it very clear that Rip is operating with a level of confidence we haven't quite seen from him before. And honestly, that confidence is both impressive and slightly alarming. Impressive because it shows how much ground he's gained since the beginning of the series. He came into Temple Ranch as an outsider. Someone with no name, no claim, no history here. And yet, through pure intelligence and an almost terrifying ability to read people, he's managed to position himself right at the center of this ranch's power structure. Alarming because in shows like this, when a character starts feeling too confident, that's almost always the moment the story decides to remind them how fragile everything they've built really is. And the trailer is already dropping hints that a reminder is coming. The most important thing to understand about Rip's position right now is that his entire strategy depends on keeping Waken and Rob Will at each other's throats while he quietly pulls strings from behind. And up until now, that strategy has been working beautifully. Waken is angry, Rob Will is desperate, and Rip has been the calm, calculating presence, feeding both of their fears and ambitions in exactly the right amounts. But here's the problem. The trailer suggests that Rob Will isn't just going to sit back and absorb the punishment that's coming his way after the set situation. Rob Will is going to fight back. And the weapon he's chosen is the most dangerous one available to him: the truth. Or at least his version of it. Because think about it for a moment. Rob Will knows that Rip and Waken have been growing closer. He's not blind. He can see the alliance forming right in front of him. And the one person who can destroy that alliance before it becomes unbeatable is Bula. So what does Rob Will do? He goes to Bula. He plants the seed. He tells her that Waken isn't just making decisions for the ranch, he's making decisions for Rip. And if that seed takes root in Bula's mind, everything Rip has spent weeks building could start to crack from the foundation up. This is why the trailer feels so tense from the very first second. Because we're watching a man who has been brilliantly in control suddenly realize that his opponent is smarter than he gave him credit for. And that realization changes everything about how this episode is going to play out. Now let's shift our focus to Beth. Because while Rip is dealing with the Rob Will situation, Beth is facing something that might actually be more dangerous than anything happening on the physical side of this conflict. And that's saying a lot, considering we literally just watched someone get shot. But here's the thing about Beth Dutton that this show has always understood better than almost any other character-driven drama on television right now. Beth's greatest battlefield has never been the ranch. It's never been the boardroom. It's never been the legal or financial maneuvering that she does so effortlessly. Beth's greatest battlefield is the psychological one. And right now, in the episode 7 trailer, we are watching Beth step into a psychological war against someone who might genuinely be her equal. And that someone is Bula. What the trailer shows us about Beth and Bula's dynamic in episode 7 is deeply fascinating, because on the surface, these two women still appear to be allies. They're still operating within the same business framework. They're still presenting a united front to the outside world. But underneath that surface, the trailer is screaming that the trust between them is not just cracking, it's already broken. And the most important question the trailer raises is this: does Beth know that Bula knows? Because if Beth has figured out that Bula is already suspicious, then everything Beth does in this episode is a performance. Every smile, every deal, every conversation is a calculated move designed to keep Bula from acting on what she suspects. But if Beth hasn't figured it out yet, then she is walking into episode 7 completely exposed. And Bula is going to use that exposure in a way that could permanently damage everything Beth has worked toward. And this is where Bula becomes one of the most compelling characters this show has produced. Because Bula is not loud about her intelligence. She doesn't announce it. She doesn't use it as a weapon the way Beth does. Bula uses her intelligence the way a river uses gravity, quietly, consistently, and in a direction that everything eventually has to follow. When she asked those questions about John Dutton and Jaime in episode 6, she wasn't fishing for information. She already had the information. She was testing Beth's reaction. She was watching to see how Beth's face moved, how her voice shifted, how quickly she recovered her composure. And what Bula saw in that moment told her everything she needed to know. Beth is hiding something massive, and whatever that something is, it's connected to death. The trailer hints very strongly that in episode 7, Bula is going to push harder, and the way she pushes is going to be much more direct than what we saw in episode 6. Because Bula has now completed her initial assessment. The testing phase is over. What comes next is the pressure phase. And the trailer gives us a glimpse of what that pressure looks like. It looks like Bula putting Beth in situations where she has to make decisions quickly, without time to think, without time to calculate. Because Bula has clearly figured out that Beth's weakness isn't lack of intelligence. Beth's weakness is that her intelligence requires preparation. Give Beth time to think and she will outmaneuver you every single time. But take that time away from her, force her to react in real time, and the mask starts to slip. And the trailer is strongly suggesting that in episode 7, that mask is going to slip at least once. But here's what makes this even more layered and even more exciting to think about. Beth is not going to take this pressure lying down. The trailer shows us glimpses of Beth going on the offensive in a way that feels almost reckless compared to her usual controlled approach. And that recklessness is a signal. When Beth starts moving fast and hitting hard, it usually means one of two things. Either she's already 5 steps ahead and what looks like recklessness is actually a perfectly designed trap, or she's genuinely scared, and the aggression is a defense mechanism. And right now, with Bula closing in from one direction and the Robble situation exploding from another, there is a very real argument to be made that for the first time in this series, Beth Dutton is operating from a place of fear. And a scared Beth Dutton is simultaneously the most dangerous and the most vulnerable version of this character we could possibly see. Episode 7 is about to show us exactly which way that pendulum swings.